Hello, Bravo bosses. This is the Bravo Investigator podcast. I'm your host, Dana. And today on our Monday Reality Roundup, we are talking about The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Summer House, The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Teen Mom, and then we're doing a mini recap of the Southern Charm Reunion Part 2. Now, today's episode is on video, so you can watch today's episode over on YouTube. Let's get into it. Monday, everyone. I hope everyone had a great weekend and a great week. And got to start with my apologies, as I always do. I did not get you guys a recap episode over on the weekend. I was going to do Southern Charm Reunion Part 2 on the weekend, but then I figured, you know what? I'm just going to tack it on to today's episode today. So we've got lots of fun topics to talk about today, and I can't wait to get into it. But I wanted to let you guys know some exciting announcements. So for this week, we know that The Real Housewives of Rhode Island is premiering on Thursday, which I am so excited about. I always get excited for a new Bravo show, albeit a new Housewives show. I hear it's amazing, and I hear it from people who aren't Andy. And I say that only because Andy Cohen has a particular ability to try to convince us that something is better than it is or worse than it is. So I've heard from some other people who have watched the screeners that this is really, really good. So I am jazzed about it. But that being said, that means it is time for a new Be True Hollywood Story. Yes, I'm bringing it back. So I know I haven't done an episode of Be True Hollywood Story in a while, and that's because I'm trying to get you guys like 3 or 4 episodes a week. So it's been tough. And the last one I did was right before Christmas, which was Kyle Cook. So this week's Be True Hollywood Story is going to be Ashley I. Canetti from The Real Housewives of Rhode Island, but previously known as Ashley I from Bachelor Nation. So she has a ton of hilarious lore, including her cry face and her 4-page letter front and back to her now husband. It is a wild ride that are all things Ashley I. So I'm really excited to get you guys that episode this week. So I'm going to premiere that episode on Thursday, which will be the same day that The Real Housewives of Rhode Island comes out. Other exciting news this week is that we are getting the Valley premiere. I'm really excited about that too. I mean, I'm excited because I love the Valley and I love the characters, and it'll always be one of my favorite shows, or one of my favorite like groupings of shows when you think of like Vanderpump Rules, The Valley, all of those, Summer House, all the ones that are sort of tied together in a way. But I don't know, there was like no juice in that trailer. I'm a little worried that there isn't going to be much tea. That being said, I'm also kind of annoyed that they're putting all of our best shows like midweek. I only say that because I have to be in office on Wednesdays. So I hate that Summer House is Tuesday nights. I like watch it really quickly twice, make notes, and then I record for it Wednesday when I get home from work. But now we're going to have the Valley Wednesday nights. Is it Wednesday nights? Yeah. And then Rory Thursdays. Anyways, I'll figure it all out and I'll be recapping it all. But that being said, I'm just really excited that starting this week, we're going to be having Summer House, The Valley, The Real Housewives of Rhode Island. Like, could we be so lucky? Like, I feel really lucky. Also, another announcement, just wanted to let you guys know, and as you've probably realized, I have given up on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, okay? I'm not recapping it anymore. It's boring to me. I don't care about what's happening. I mean, I will bring it up if there's some news in the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills sphere and we need to talk about it for the sake of a Monday reality roundup, but I'm no longer recapping it. And I've also tried to find a way to scale back in terms of what I'm recapping because I'm working full time again, right? So, but that's not even really the reason. I'm just so bored by it. And I know a lot of people feel the same. It's really unfortunate. I'm not giving up on the show. Like, I'm still watching it. I just tire of recapping it because nothing is happening. So not really enjoying that right now. And another piece of exciting news is that I am starting a new podcast. That being said, I'm still doing this podcast, so don't worry about it. Nothing is going to change here that much. But I am starting a new podcast, and it is called All You Need Is You. And it is a podcast that helps guide you to living your best solo life. So it's not even just about being single. It's about truly living alone and being alone and embracing that and loving it. And I'm going to be sharing stories and advice and having interviews. And it's going to be such an amazing space for people who feel that they need the support and the community in being alone. Do you know what I mean? I feel like for so many of us, we experience things that we feel are sort of in a vacuum. And I feel like a lot of those things for us would feel a lot less awful if we knew that there was a lot of other people experiencing it as well, or even people who are experiencing it as well, but also thriving through it. So that's what the podcast is going to be about. Again, it's called All You Need Is You. It premieres on April the 10th. The trailer has already come out, so you can go ahead and take a listen to that. I've linked it in the show notes. There's also already an Instagram account, so you can follow that at All You Need Is You. And it's just going to be like a social media account that's giving you like fun ideas and tips and tricks on living your best solo life. And then the podcast is going to be some version of that as well. So if you know anyone out there who is living alone, and is looking for something that is supposed to try to help complement the life that they're already living, or if they're looking for advice for living a better solo life or for not feeling so, I guess, alone in that loneliness, this is the place. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell whoever might be interested in this. All you need is you. All right, well, let's get into our episode today because we have a pretty juicy packed one, so I'm excited about it. Let's start with the secret lives of Mormon wives because we know that this show and this group of ladies never ceases to give us stuff by the hour, by the minute, right? I feel like for the past 2 weeks, we have just been like living and swimming in the secret lives of Mormon wives. It has just been like every 2 seconds, we are just a new update, a new update, a new update. So that's been pretty wild. But in the Taylor Frankie Paul front, I think that one of the first things that we've heard about in the past week since I last talked to you guys about Taylor Frankie Paul is that there is now a third DV allegation. So we know that there was the 2023 video that we have now all seen that TMZ released. We know obviously there is a 2026 situation that happened on February 23rd or 24th involving Dakota and Taylor, which led to her losing custody of her child for a period of time. Now, apparently, there is a third DV incident. It allegedly happened in 2024. Police are still looking into it. We do not have any other details about it right now as it stands, but we do know that it involves like Taylor and Dakota. I think he's just trying to come out of the woodwork with whatever he's forgiven her for in the past or whatever may have happened in the past because he is so angry about whatever happened in February that he is just ready to just like rip her a new one. And he is just going ham because I feel like, and it's something that he has said as well, or he has said through other parties, that he always wants to have a good relationship with her for their kid. But ever since the February incident, I think that he does not care. I think something so bad happened that they cannot repair. And he is just trying to out her for anything that he can think of. He is a douche for doing that. Absolutely 100%. But I'm just more worried about the kids at this point, right? Like, it's just really sad that this woman has 3 kids, that their mom is in the news every 2 seconds, that this child who was in like the 2023 video is now going to have to see that video when she gets older, right? And is Googles herself and is able to see that. This whole situation is so fucked up. We're hearing more things in terms of The Bachelorette, in terms of what they might do with it. I heard that they're going to be putting Love Overboard in that time slot, which is a new dating show with Gabby Windey, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm interested in only because I love Gabby Windey. So everything Gabby Windey, I will take a look at. Then I also heard that they were maybe considering Maura Higgins for The Bachelorette. And I'm like, okay, I think it's a great idea. It's a throwaway vote, but I will go for it. Why not, right? I mean, whoever. I just put like a normal girl in the spot. But even still, the whole season filmed. So when we're talking about like filling this with another spot, we're talking about like months and months away from another premiere. But I guess the only reason people are talking about this in general is just because there's also lots of conversations about like, is this the end of The Bachelorette as we know it? Is this the end of the franchise? A lot of people who podcast about The Bachelor and The Bachelor franchise specifically have talked about this is sort of, in a way, like the end of an era and the end of what they started out to do, right? So I feel like maybe like ABC is trying to be like, no, 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 we're not done here, and we're gonna try to find another way. I could see them continue. I mean, the show was still making money, even though it wasn't doing well. It was making money, right? It was probably making more money than like the Vanderpump Rules reboot, right? So I feel like it would be not smart business wise to just scrap The Bachelorette entirely. But yeah, I'd be here for Maura Higgins. And then when it comes to the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, we heard that they're not filming right now. The women didn't feel comfortable filming with Taylor with all that's going on. And now there are stories about maybe a spinoff happening in OC with Jen and her family, because Jen Affleck has now moved to the OC. And so people are like, oh, what about a spinoff there? And people are also talking about that with like Whitney and her family, right? And I think it's like not a crazy idea, because are we done with the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives as we know it? Now the show has just become about watching them do press. And I love a fourth wall break. Like, I love behind the scenes, but I really don't feel like we're watching a group of friends. I obviously, like, I feel like they do a good job of constantly trying to bring it back to the fact of like, this is why we're here. This is about mom talk. This is about friendship. And that's great for the sake of like keeping it on theme. But I feel like the sparkle, the like, what's the word? Like the new shininess of the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives has sort of worn off. As I said, I was so kind of like put off by season 4. I can't believe we've even had 4 seasons within a year and a half. So that's just kind of crazy. And I think it's kind of, seeing them all together isn't really what we're watching anymore. We all sort of have our favorites and we're watching certain ones. And I feel like it would be really interesting to sort of see them each in their own vein. And I wouldn't hate it, right? I wouldn't hate it. All right. Then Jessie Draper, who we heard last week, is divorcing her husband, Jordan Nagatura, or whatever his last name is. We first heard that he was the one who filed, but she was recently on Call Her Daddy and did the damn thing. So we're going to do a brief synopsis of her interview on Call Her Daddy. So one of the main things she said was that she and Jordan had discussed in advance that they were going to tell their children about the divorce together. Then he went ahead and went to TMZ, so they weren't able to do that. She doesn't know if he ended up telling his 13-year-old daughter because he has an older daughter in advance, but he just went ahead and went to TMZ first so that he could get the headline. He tried to put a clause in the divorce that she couldn't talk about him publicly, like she couldn't go on podcasts and stuff, but she never actually signed anything. This is just like something that he wanted, so she's going on podcast. She's going to do the damn thing. He put, how most people put like irreconcilable differences as the reason for divorce. He put cheating because of the Marciano situation. So he put like affair. She also mentions that basically after season 1, she was reached out to by this escort service that said, your husband has been in contact with us. And they showed her his phone number. She was able to see screenshots and like quite enough evidence to prove that he was reaching out to this escort service because it was attached to his number. Now, he claimed it was the AI. He said that, like, now that we're getting famous, people are, like, looking for us and stuff. But this was all before the show. She ended up just sort of ignoring it. And then about a month ago, she found out that he was going to these parties a lot. She found out from, like, a friend of a friend who was like, oh, are Jessie and Jordan still together? And the friend was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, I've been seeing Jordan at these parties. And it's apparently like sex kind of parties, right? So Jessie was equating that to orgies. If you really think about it, I'm like not quite sure if it necessarily means orgies, but a party that you have to pay for is definitely a sex party. And the orgy of it all is maybe her just kind of like reaching a little bit, but maybe it's because, you have a party where there's a whole bunch of people who are down to get nasty. And so she just figures that a lot of people are involved. I don't really know about that part. She said that he doesn't work, right? So he ended up quitting his job, which is funny considering he's so about the whole traditional gender role thing, but he is spending her money. He's living in her house. He's doing everything like under her. She also talks about how he has spied on her in the past, like using the house cameras like Jax Taylor used to do. Another thing was like this conversation that she was having with Harry Jowsey from like that podcast Boyfriend Material. He was also in the show. He's a reality star. Y'all know who he is. So basically like they have the same birthday. So she had like responded to him on like Instagram stories being like, oh, hey, birthday twin. And then Jordan like created a fake account to like DM himself from the account to try to convince Jessi that he knew that she was cheating with Harry. It was a whole like nonsense thing that made absolutely no sense. But Harry Josie actually came out with the messages and like played all of the voice notes. And it was literally just like, hey, how's your day going? Good. How's your day going? It was the most innocent thing ever. And Jordan's just like a little piece of shit. So he basically tried to control everything about her. He mom shamed her. He said bad things about her body. And then it really came to a point with her where even physically her body was shutting down. So she didn't even want him to touch her physically, sexually, any of that. Because I mean, that makes sense, right? Like you like hate this person. You feel like this person is like your biggest hater. They hate you, you hate them. Like, why would your body feel comfortable doing that? One time they got in a fight and then he started recording it and started trying to make it seem like it was like a bigger deal than it was and was like, oh, should I call the cops? Do you want me to call the cops? And trying to get like that on video, which is very like reminiscent of Dakota, and Dakota and Jordan are good friends. And their prenup is valid. So remember that we were talking about that in season 4 and we were a little bit worried for her because the prenup had not been signed by witnesses, rendering it invalid. So she was really, really worried about that because she has like a bajillion-dollar business that she doesn't want to share with that little like leprechaun. So thank God that it is valid. But I guess sort of the most surprising thing that came out of the entire interview was finding out that this man was really into women who do Pilates every day. And I'm like, am I just watching Love is Blind again? Like, what show am I watching right now? Like, what is this? What is this? What is this new thing about men needing a Pilates body lady? Okay. It just feels very ridiculous to me and like none of this time. And I just don't even know what to make of this. Get out of here, sir. Get out of here. I think men are having a very warped viewpoint of what they look like in comparison to the women that they're with. And we're all doing our fucking best, okay? You know, she's raising a bunch of kids. She's running a business. She's on TV. Maybe she doesn't have time to do Pilates every day, sir, okay? You do. You don't have a job. So think about that. Okay. And then we were all there for Jessi. We were all like, Team Jessi, this guy's a piece of shit. But then Miranda McWhorter, Miranda Hope, whatever you want to call her, she posts this picture of flowers that Jessi apparently got her. And the card says, like, I'm so sorry. I know that you're mad at me. I'm so sorry for what I've done. And we're all like, what the hell? What just happened here? And then Miranda posted like a get ready with me that says, get ready with me while I process my friend group being a waiting room for my ex-husband. Meaning Jessi went there with Chase. And we know this to be a fact because like she admitted to this. So this is a statement that Miranda made to Entertainment Tonight. So she said, unfortunately, I'm familiar with this territory. I know there had been communication between Chase and Jessi, but not to what extent. Then Chase was upfront and told me that they were talking and that they kissed. Jessi reached out only after she knew Chase had told me something was going on with them. And today, at the same time, a rumor started spreading online that something was going on with Chase and Jessi, and I received apology flowers from Jessi. What I never want to get misconstrued is that there is not any emotional attachment to Chase. He is my co-parent. Although I do feel disrespected by Chase, I feel slighted by my friend. Chase and I are no longer partners, and while I have a high expectation of him as a co-parent, I also hold my friends to a high standard and believe in girl code. With everything going on and with all the chaos, I am just focusing on my kids. I always forget that they have kids. As unfortunate as the film break is, and then also this betrayal, I'm going to try and focus on my kids and reground myself. I am processing it and moving forward, Miranda Hope. So listen, I completely understand where she's coming from and girl code to the max, but I just have like a question. And this is just a question. Didn't Layla also date Chase? And why was that okay? And was it maybe because like Chase or Miranda and Layla weren't close maybe at that period of time? There was also like the Taylor Frankie Paul of it all, which we do know Miranda was jealous about and would have been an issue for her. But why was it okay when it was Layla? Or is it just like, hey, can y'all stay? It is very weird. Like, is this guy like the Harry Dubin of Utah? Like, are there no other men? And like, I'm sorry, like he's not a good looking guy. He's very like thuggish looking, right? Like he looks like the kind of guy who's been in and out of jail a lot. Like, I don't know. I don't really get it, right? Like, I don't understand. Is this the only single guy in all of Utah? It just feels very weird. But then again, I feel like we see that a lot in a lot of other circles. That being said, I think it's time to move on to Summer House and some people who are swimming also in their own circle, allegedly. And we are back to the West and Amanda rumors. Okay, you guys, this is wild. I felt like when this rumor first came out about West and Amanda, when it came out from Dumois, I believed it because of what Dumois said to Ryan Bailey. And what she said to Ryan Bailey was, they're talking about it, they're telling people. And Dumois, like, she doesn't claim to like tell the truth. She says, like, we don't verify our blinds, right? This is just like what we put out there. But she also has really close connections to Summer House cast. So it just felt very like, how could there have been so many people? Because it wasn't even just Dumois. There were several accounts who had been getting word of the whole West and Amanda of it all for weeks. So it's like, how could it not be at all true, but coming from so many different camps? Then it all like died down a bit. We had Amanda on Trading Secrets podcast, Trading Places, Trading Secrets, and saying like I'd never date anyone from the cast, but that was recorded back in January. Then we had Kyle on Watch What Happens Live being like, I don't think so. That would be super weird. I don't think Sierra would be into that. Then we had West on Watch What Happens Live. And if you watch it again, technically he didn't actually say that's not true. When Andy asked him about the rumor, he's like, she's single now. She's been asked about, or like there's been implications that she's been hooking up with other people that she's been seen photographed with. That's a really important person to me. That's my friend. But he never like flat out said like, no, it's not true. But if it were true, like the entire friend group would like go fucking bananas. Then there was all these people who were being sleuths about like whether Sierra was liking Amanda's photos. I went to take a look and it turns out that Sierra has blocked me. I did not know why or when this happened. Could have been years ago. I literally cannot recall the last time that I looked at her profile. So that's fine. But I'm an investigator and I have a bajillion profiles. So click, click, boom, and I can see your profile. It's kind of hilarious. Anyways, so there was all of that. Then rumors start to kind of surface again. And this started this past week with the fact that Amanda and Sierra were scheduled to do an Amazon Live together. And then at the very last minute, they were scheduled to do with other people. This could have been like a business decision. It could have been like something random, like who really knows? Then Bravo and Cocktails came out with this post. So I'm going to read it to you guys. It says, I may have to take the loss on this one because this is a good source. Someone in fashion working with Sierra's team confirmed Sierra making changes to her plans with Amanda with deals, etc., due to the West situation. She was given verbal confirmation that something happened between Amanda and West. Production is trying to get concrete proof ahead of the reunion, but whatever source info Sierra got, she believes to be true now. Then Christy from the podcast Snark Bait actually got a DM from someone who, I mean, this is like, this whole thing is really wild, this DM that they got from someone saying that they like saw West and Amanda doing it. So I'm going to read you guys this DM. It says, hi, okay, so disclaimer, I've literally never done this because I've never had tea and I don't know how it works, but I'm a baby snark and have to secretly share with my girls. My blank has a Bravo page, blank, and has gotten very friendly with Summer House cast, Southern Charm cast, and Southern Hospitality cast. Also with a lot of other Bravo pages and media companies. My blank got a text from blank who told her that his friend from blank lives across the way from Amanda's apartment, her place without Kyle, and doesn't really watch the show apparently, but that she got a picture of West and Amanda kissing in her apartment. Then it gets back to Sierra somehow, and last night she met up with the girl who has the picture. The girl showed her the picture and it confirmed that it is Amanda and West, and she is definitely upset about it. Apparently, the girl didn't want to put it anywhere and expose it in the way that she just wanted Sierra to know after all of the rumors flew and after they denied hooking up. Blank said he trusts the source, but that it is a he said, she said situation. How is it a he said, she said situation if it's a photo? Then it's like evidence. Anyway, and that it's definitely why they didn't do the live together today because Sierra found out last night. Okay, that's all. Feel free to use the story, but please leave out blank, his page's name, and my name. Love you, girls. According to blank, I don't know if they denied to her. I would assume they did if they denied on Insta and Watch What Happens Live the other night when West was on. So messed up, but you're always pegging West for being, what did they call him? For being performative, LOL. You saw, okay, someone who doesn't watch this show looked through a window into someone who is on a show, recognized those people, and took a photo? I mean, you know what this reminds me of? I have not read Carl Radke's book yet. Shame on me. But apparently, there is a story in the book about how he was on vacation with an ex-girlfriend and he saw someone watching him, like from afar, from like, this is like an island situation. So he sees someone like with binoculars, like spying on him. And then the person is trying to get closer and closer and ends up falling to their death. Seriously, falling to their death. So that's what this sort of reminded me of, was this person like so desperate to get a photo of Amanda and Wes that they were willing to fall to their death. Anyway, I mean, they didn't die, but like, that is the craziest proof I've ever heard. I just can't imagine that Amanda would literally do this because she knows how Sierra would feel about it. There's a million guys in New York. If this wasn't something that Sierra would care about, then yeah, like go off. Do you, queen, right? Like lots of people dip in the same friend group, same pool, because these are the only people that they're kind of around, right? Like I love Vanderpump Rules, but like people are likening this to the next Scandal, and they're trying to put all these weird little pieces together where they're like, look at this picture of West wearing this hat, and here's a picture of Amanda wearing the same hat. She's wearing his hat, which is so like Raquel wearing the Tom Tom sweatshirt, or like West is wearing a sweatshirt in one photo, and a couple weeks later, Amanda's wearing the same sweatshirt in another photo. And that doesn't mean anything to me, though. Friends share clothes, right? Like, I don't think that means anything. People are trying to find the tiniest little things to put this together. What do you guys think? I just don't know what to think because it just seems so crazy to me. But at the same time, how can there be this much smoke without there being any fire? How can there be? That's wild. It's wild. I really wish we had an after show right now, and I am like jazzed as fuck that we're gonna have a reunion. Can you imagine this is true? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. We're gonna get more news, obviously. But let's move on to the Real Housewives New Jersey. Yes, I said Real Housewives of New Jersey because they are finally coming back. We are finally getting a new season. And here's the cast that we know that we have so far in terms of repeat offenders. We have Melissa Gorga, Teresa Giudice, and Dolores Catania. Dolores will be the first housewife to be on two shows at the same time because she is also going to be on Rory, the Real Housewives of Rhode Island. Now, I have a hot take. Okay, don't hate me for this take, you guys. And I gave this hot take on Up and Adam live on Friday. So if you already heard this, apologies. But I feel like one of the reasons we did not enjoy the Real Housewives of New Jersey for so long is because we were watching the same bullshit over and over again between Melissa and Teresa. And it was annoying and boring and we hated it. But now I sort of feel like enough time has passed that I kind of wouldn't mind it again. Like, I don't want to see them getting along. That would be weird. And then last season, we saw them like not even speak at all. It got to a point where it was too much. Absolutely. But I feel like there's something to be said about like the passage of time. And like, I think what made Jersey so quintessential Jersey was the familia of it all, right? And like, it's so ingrained in like the core of what New Jersey is, family. And trying to destroy your family, right? So I don't know. But I also kind of don't know how Teresa and Melissa are thinking about going into this because they know that we don't want them to fight. They don't know what I want, but they know that most people don't want to see them doing the same shit over and over again. Andy has also said that. And that's why I feel like they're not really going to know how to interact with each other because let's be honest, this whole reuniting, all of this, it's all fake. It's all for the show. So I don't think they're going to know how to interact with each other in a real way, and maybe it'll come off fake. So anyway, I'd love to see them go at it is all I kind of want to say, because I kind of feel like enough time has passed and I kind of miss it. I kind of miss it. But unfortunately, someone who is not coming back is Margaret Josephs. And I'm really sad to hear that. She posted a video, and I'm just going to play this video for you guys so you can hear her statement about not returning to the show.
It's the Marge. I'm dialing in. I have to tell you something that might come as a little surprise to you, but not for me. I've been thinking about a lot of different things, and I am moving on from the Housewives of New Jersey, so I don't look a little more glamorous for you. Uh, I've been in the talks with the network and Andy since December. We've discussed it, and I think the timing is right. A lot of things have changed in my life. I've been blessed to work on a different project. I'm on the set right now, and I realize I have to spend more time with my family, work on my designing, and just take a break and move on. So I also wanted to say I want to thank NBC Universal, Bravo, Andy, our production company, my cast, the good and the bad. I really do love you all. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. This will not be the last you guys see me on television. That's not a threat, it's a promise. And I'm excited for all the new opportunities. And I'm grateful for all of you for supporting me for all these years. And you will see me very, very soon back on your TV screens. One, love you.
So I am sad to hear that. I actually always really liked Marge. I think she really pushed story along. I think she brought us quite a bit of story. I mean, like talking about her own cheating scandal and being so open with it, talking about being like sexually assaulted, right? Like I feel like there is so much that she actually really gave us. But I can also understand from like a safety perspective where I'm like, I don't want to film with someone's husband who called my son at work, allegedly, but like this is something that Marge believes that she has definitive evidence of. And it's freaking her the fuck out. And I don't blame her. And like a lot of people do say, like, nobody quits Bravo. And like when they say that they were trying to spend more time with their family, it's like, yeah, you got fired. But like in this situation, it seems like she has another job on the horizon. She's literally on the set of another reality show. That's what's been so great about the past few years, especially since COVID, where they've been able to repurpose our reality TV stars into other shows, right? Into competition shows and other fun stuff like The Traitors, House of Villains, stuff like that. So I'm excited to see Marge again in some capacity, but I totally understand why she would want to continue to be on this franchise. But I'm excited for Jersey to come back. I'm excited for any newbies that we get as well. I'm curious to see how it'll go. I really don't know how it'll go because one, it's been such a long time. Two, we have people together who haven't really gotten along in some time, and you know, it's going to be a challenge, but I truly believe in these women because I believe that they need this money badly enough that they are going to work hard to get it. All right, let's move on to some teen mom news. And I just want to let you guys know that there is a lot going on in the Kaylin Lowry sphere. She is actually releasing a series of episodes with her ex boyfriend Elijah. She released one, but I believe there's going to be more. So I'm going to go over that next week once all of those episodes are out. But I just want to let you know that that's coming because like that's really exciting. And I'm going to have Ray Clark on, who is a big content creator in the Teen Mom verse, to come on and chat that with me because yeah, she knows everything Teen Mom. But for today, we're going to be talking about Jenelle Evans and her poor son Jace. We've been talking about this saga for a little while. Just to give you guys a very quick refresher on Jenelle Evans. Jenelle was from Teen Mom. She got pregnant at 16 with her son Jace. She struggled to take care of him when she was young because she still wanted to go out and party and do all these things. So her mom had convinced her to give custody of Jace to her. That caused them to have a contentious relationship for the duration of their relationship together because Jenelle wanted Jace back and Barbara didn't want to give him back. Jenelle went on to have other kids with other fiancés and husbands, and she ended up marrying this guy, David Eason, who ended up killing their dog and being completely like racist and transphobic and this really awful guy. He abused her as well. So she got a divorce from him, but there's also like rumors that they are back together. But as an aside, Jace has sort of gone off the deep end. He's been running away from home. He apparently pulled a gun on his grandmother recently and is ending up in a mental health facility. So the most recent update is that Jenelle Evans's ex, Andrew Lewis, so that is Jace's father, he's trying to start a GoFundMe to help raise money for Jace. So this article from Us Weekly says that Jenelle Evans' ex, Andrew Lewis, has started a crowdfunding initiative to raise money for his son Jace. In a GoFundMe page launched on Thursday, March 26th, Lewis asked for the public's help in getting his son to a loving environment. As some are aware, Jace was hospitalized and then taken to a mental health facility in February and remains there as of today. Lewis claimed on the GoFundMe, Although his grandma and I have tried to have him released into our care, Jace's mother has refused to let that happen and has insisted that he remain in the facility despite her living over 2,000 miles away and not being there to care for him. Lewis claimed he is in need of funds to help pay for the enormous medical bills that have accrued due to Jace being in the facility, despite us not wanting him to be there to begin with. We also need help paying the legal fees it will take to battle Jace's mother for custody, Lewis claimed. During the last month, people who are concerned and care for Jace have reached out to ask how they can help us in our fight for Jace, leading us to create this fundraiser. Anything left over will be used for his future medical needs. In a social media post, Evans 34 seemingly addressed her ex's fundraising efforts by writing, "Don't let the GoFundMe fool you. He has a job, everyone." Here's if he has a job. Like, medical bills in the US are insane from my understanding. You can't even like have a kid for less than 10 grand. Correct me if I'm wrong, because here in Canada, healthcare is free. But I was just like, what the actual fuck? The article goes on to say earlier this month, Jenelle's mom, Barbara Evans, made headlines when she filed two motions in court, one for emergency child custody and one to modify child custody. The motion was later denied. My mom was denied her recent request for emergency custody, Jenelle told us on March 15th. I still have sole and physical custody of Jace. And then there's this TMZ article that came out that said Jenelle is blocking her mom from seeing Jace. It says teen mom star Jenelle Evans is allegedly shutting her mom Barbara out of her son Jace's life while he's receiving treatment in a mental health facility, with Barbara telling us she's been blocked from visiting or even speaking with him directly. Barbara Evans tells TMZ she calls the facility every morning and night and asks for staff to pass along the message to Jace, telling him she loves him and urging him to hang on. Barbara believes Jace is struggling without being able to communicate with her, which is why she continues checking in daily and asking staff to reassure him that she's okay. We're told Jenelle has been in touch with Jace, visiting him at the facility last week. The alleged cutoff comes at the heels of a disturbing 911 call last month in which Barbara claimed Jace had a gun to his head, an incident that ultimately led to him being placed in a treatment facility. Just last week, a judge denied Barbara's request for emergency custody, as I said. So it's just really crazy what's going on here. And then Jenelle posted a video, which I'm going to play for you guys now, like in response to all of this.
I feel like I have to. I feel like at this moment, it is imperative for my family to have their privacy. And it's been very hard for my family to have their privacy because I have other family on the other side of the country selling stories to the media. And as the narrative is being spun as me being the villain, of course, because I'm just such an easy target. But in actuality, behind the scenes, I'm doing everything I can for my child, and I'm doing what's in the best interest for him. And that's none of your business to know. So even though there's a bunch of rumors saying you're not doing nothing, you don't care, you're across country. First of all, no one knows where I'm at all times. Let's get that out there.
So are you in like
Second of all,
state or
what
not?
I will do is put my whole life. I feel like I have to.
No. Okay, that's the end of the video. But I mean, this girl, it's just wild because we wouldn't know about most of the things that's going on with your family if you weren't going to the media. Yes, in this case, it does seem like Barbara and Andrew are going to the media in order to get help with funds. But like, even Jenelle doing this video, I mean, it's none of your business. Like, you've gone on lives before and talked about what's going on with Jace. The only reason that we know that he has this disorder, this defiant disorder that she was talking about, because she told us about it on a live. She told us to go look it up on TikTok, this defiant disorder. Okay, this all is coming from her. And then she has the audacity to then later be like, oh, hey, you guys, this is none of your business. But you can't have it both ways, okay? And I just feel really, really bad for this kid. I remember watching him all the way at the beginning and see him sort of just like blank or zone out when he'd see Jenelle yell or he'd see Barbara and Jenelle go at each other. He just saw such violent things as a kid. And it was weird for us as well because we were watching that too. And I just kind of always knew something like this was going to happen. And it just makes me really, really sad. I do hope that he gets like everything that he needs. But it's almost weird that we almost watched it all as it was a documentary. We watched his entire life as a documentary, knowing how it was going to end up, and no one did anything to stop it. I don't know if it was anyone's responsibility to do so. I mean, I do think that not TMZ, MTV has crossed the lines in some senses in terms of some of the things that they recorded, which they've said in the past are like, we're not watching what's happening in the car. These are like car cams. So if something is happening, we're seeing it later. I don't know. We've seen some shit on TV. We've seen some shit, some drug use, some almost passing out in the car, pulling of guns. It's just like wild stuff that we've seen. And so I just always had a feeling something bad would happen to Jace. And it's heartbreaking. It is. All right, let's move on to our last topic of the day, which is just a mini recap of the Southern Charm reunion part two. I do like that they do a two-part reunion. I feel like they tie it all up pretty nice in a bow. We get to the Vanita and Craig of it all, and I feel like we iron this out a little bit better. So Craig feels like Vanita just kind of picked up from the things that she was hearing out in the zeitgeist and out on Reddit and stuff about him and Paige, that she didn't really know him and Paige, that she isn't friends with Paige, and so she really shouldn't have made a comment. In all fairness, she wasn't out there talking on a bunch of podcasts. It really was just the Vile Files, and she barely really said much. That being said, it's understandable why Craig wouldn't want her around or want her in his life. That makes sense. I don't think that Vanita was doing it for the attention. But I think she was riding a wave. I think, everybody was on the team Paige bandwagon except for the Southern Charm cast. And I think she was riding that wave a little bit because at the end of the day, I don't feel like the way that Craig reacted to the breakup was like psychotic. Listen, I don't like Craig, okay, you guys? I don't like freak out on me here. This isn't a team anything. This doesn't mean that I'm team anybody. It just means like he didn't cheat on her. So like, okay. And also, we have to remember that, like, yeah, he was doing press at that time, but that was because that is when Southern Charm was happening. Remember when they broke up, when Paige and Craig broke up, he was like, can we keep this under wraps for a couple of weeks or whatever? Because Southern Charm was just starting to film or starting to air, and he was starting to do press for it. She was like, yes, absolutely. And then she saw him out and about on New Year's, and she was like, okay, I'm going to make the announcement. But yeah, he was doing press, and you could see the look in his eyes every time he was asked about Paige during that press, right? Like he wasn't jazzed about it. But anyways, he said that he disagrees with Vanita in the sense that her main point was like she felt like he was sort of relishing in the breakup and enjoying it. And he's like, that is absolutely not true. And Madison does agree with him on that. And she's just like, he didn't enjoy the breakup. It was the worst time of his life. And I do agree with that. Like the fact that we're even still talking about it now, the fact that he still addresses Paige, the fact that he says things like to Charlie, like, I'd pick you over my ex, the fact that we're even still, or like, I never wanted to have another first kiss again. Like this guy's obsessed still, completely obsessed. So no, I don't think he was relishing in the breakup. Vanita said that she doesn't go on Reddit. She doesn't even go on social media during the time that the show is airing. When Vanita was asked why she wasn't more loyal to Craig after he, what do you call it? Saved her from drowning. It's like, come on with that. Like, she doesn't owe him forever, right? So whatever. And Craig sort of feels like they don't have a relationship and never had. We'll get to this later. Or sorry, I want to say something about Vanita in general, but maybe I'll get to that in a minute. So then we get into like Sally and Vanita's friendship. They're apparently in a weird place. Like, I don't get what's going on here. We didn't get real clarification from Vanita, but like apparently Vanita is treating Sally weird and won't like take pictures with her and won't post pictures with her. And is just sort of being weird with her. She sort of feels like Vanita's ashamed of her. And then Vanita feels like people are telling her that Sally isn't a good friend to her. She's sort of been leaning into that. And when she's saying people, it seems like she's talking a lot about like what the audience is saying. And Andy's like, you're smarter than that. Like your real friend is right here. Like, why are you leaning in so hard into what the audience is telling you? And she was just like, I don't know, you can get caught up. But I wonder if it has anything to do with, and she didn't say, but I wonder if it has anything to do with like what Sierra was talking about on Summer House, where she's like, and now I'll get all of these DMs saying like you were clowned by this white guy, right? So maybe like people are DMing her and being like, you know, you're being clowned by this white woman, and how can you let this white girl treat you this way, right? Like you just never know the nuance of what people are exactly saying to her, and maybe it's confusing her, right? She is the only Black person on this cast. That puts a lot of pressure on her. She's also, okay, the thing I wanted to say before, and I'll just say it now, is like she's sort of in a vacuum, right? Like even at this point, she doesn't really seem to have any connections on the show. She had Sally and like not really anymore. That seems to be on her. But like she doesn't she really isn't a, what do you call it, like a boat by herself on this show. And while I like her, maybe this show just isn't a good fit for her. One of my followers was like, "Oh, she would be a good fit on Summer House." I'm like, "Oh my God, yes, she would," because she has Sierra's friendship. Like that makes a lot of sense. And a place where she might like summer on the weekends, like that totally like jives and vibes, right? And like having a little bit of contention now with Carl because apparently Carl only let her know things were done and over via his People interview where he said, "Oh, the distance is an issue, and we all know how that goes." He did a few interviews where he said that. He's like, "Well, you know, she's in South Carolina, I'm in New York, and that's like long distance, and we all know how that goes." Obviously referencing Craig and Paige. So there's that. But yeah, I think she would do better maybe on another show. But I just, without any friends, and this is something that I say quite often on with regards to any of these shows, without someone to film with, and it's not like people won't film with her, but without like a friend, like you just, you can't really progress on these shows. You know what I'm saying? Then we get into Sally and Charlie. Sally insists again that Charlie would typically tell her everything when it comes to a guy. And then we find out that they've only been friends for a year. And I'm like, how is this possible? Because I'm not going to go back and watch, but you guys let me know if I'm incorrect on this. But like, didn't they say in the first episode of this season that they became friends through their exes were friends and then they both got dumped by those exes? I thought we were talking about like the doctor ex. I don't know who Charlie's was. I think it was like a football player or something, somebody big, like, but they were both like engaged, right? Like both of their engagements broke up and they bonded over that and then became like best friends over that. So like, but what's her name, what's her name what's her name Sally's engagement ended a long time ago and so did Charlie. So I'm very confused what we are talking about here. How have they only known each other a year? Sally has been dating like a plethora of different people over the past year that are not part of any of the people that, how she would know Charlie. So I'm really confused by that. Charlie is dating Justin from Southern Hospitality, which we've talked about. Oh, well, I guess we haven't. We talked about it on our Southern Hospitality episode, which is over on the Patreon, patreon.com/the Bravo Investigator podcast. But I've been saying this for a while when I'm talking Southern Hospitality, so I guess you guys haven't heard me say it, but I posted it on Instagram. That guy reminds me of Benny Blanco because he's just like, he's got the same look and as well as the same like dirty vibe. The guy is like dirty. The way he describes women is like really smart with like using his hands as melons. Like I don't like, that guy's dirty. I can't believe she's dating him because like she's so put off by Craig because he was like mean to a woman, but this guy cannot even commit to one woman. Like, oh, well, I just expected that she would be with like a businessman or like a very proper gentleman after being put off by what Craig did. You're put off by what Craig did, but you're dating like this cretin. So I'm just, that's weird. I don't know. It's just weird. So then we get a little bit more about what happened beyond the villa, beyond the villa, beyond Southern Charm between Craig and Charlie. And I don't know who's telling the truth, but we did start like the reunion episodes with Shep, Austin, and Charlie all saying that Craig has a different reality than everybody else. So I don't know who's telling the truth here, but basically he says that he and Charlie basically dated after Mexico, after filming. And she's like, we only went on 2 dates. And he's like, on camera, but we hung out. We did things. We had future planning. We talked about like doing things together. You were FaceTiming me from your friend's wedding. And then he goes, I felt like I was love bombed, which is ridiculous. I think he means, I don't think that's the word he means. I think he means manipulated, or I think manipulated. Somebody makes you feel, I feel like by love bomb is when like they're kind of like constantly giving you reassurance. I don't think she was giving him that, okay? But like still, I how could these two have such different versions of their own dating history? It's kind of wild, right? Craig is a liar and a storyteller. But I don't know. Do we trust Charlie? Now, I feel like Charlie is super replaceable. I feel like we will just see another blonde girl in her slot next year, a la Taylor, a la Olivia, a la whoever else, right? But overall, Craig ends up apologizing to everyone and does end up acknowledging his anger problem and says that all he can do is kind of keep working on himself. And I feel like that's pretty big of him, right? I feel like he doesn't typically admit that he has an anger management problem. He says that first he thought the problem was alcohol, but then he sees that even without alcohol, he is still a little bitch. So now he knows that it's something that he has to work on. And I feel like that's all everyone can really ask of him, right? So Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. I don't know if he will come back to the show. He was kind of debating that, but would we watch it without him? Sure. Is he sort of like integral to it? Yeah, I mean, the show is about the three guys, right? But at the end of the day, I mean, all of the storylines this year were about him, right? So I do feel for him in that regard. But like, what was that thing from that movie? And it's a joke, but it's like something like, it's gonna rain. Only you can decide how you react to the rain or something like that. And so Craig needs to decide how he reacts to the rain, right? Anyways, you guys, I will see you later in this week for Summer House, probably, but you will definitely see me on Thursday for Real Housewives of Rhode Island, Be True Hollywood Story, Ashley Iconetti. Until next time, you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at The Bravo Investigator. Like I said, subscribe to the Patreon to listen to my Southern hospitality recaps. That is patreon.com/The Bravo Investigator podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and join the Facebook group. And I love you, BBs. I will see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Bravo Investigator podcast. For more content, head over to patreon.com/The Bravo Investigator podcast. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at The Bravo Investigator. If you enjoyed the show, leave a 5-star review. Love you, BBs. See you next time.